Thanks everybody for coming on. Let's turn out to be a very nice evening. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. I wanted the opportunity today to speak about something a little more positive because as everybody knows, vaccines are rolling out, people are getting out more, things are slowly returning to a new normal. And so the question we wanted to ask is, will you be ready physically to get back into it after what was a very difficult year? Let me see this. So I want to appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I'm speaking on behalf of our practice down at Lower Manhattan Hospital, where we have a full service spine practice, not only including surgery, but including neurology, pain management, physiatry, and physical therapy. So as we all know, it's been a difficult year. 2020 was pretty bad. The beginning of 2021, not too much better. A lot of isolation. We've been cut off from family, friends, social support. There's been a lot of concerns economically. Some of us have had issues with work, not being able to work because of the lockdowns or because of economic changes. There's been a lot of health concerns. People are very afraid of getting COVID, which is a rational concern. And then there's been a lot of concerns about unrecognized or untreated other medical problems. And of course, we've had family issues such as dealing with changes in our normal patterns with school, with work, and all of that has led to a very difficult year. And once the year started going bad, the dominoes started to fall. We had the lockdowns, people were kind of shut down. There's not much activity. The gyms closed where a lot of people would go in the early part of a year to maintain a New Year's resolution or maintain activity. We all kind of turned to comfort food. There was a lot of growth in cooking. All the meat in the supermarkets sold out, and we all put on a few extra pounds. And so all of that contributed to a decline in our overall health for a lot of us, not everyone, but a lot of us. On top of that, school closed. And if you have kids in school and you started working from home, which was the standard, it became very stressful. And you had to manage both working at home, dealing with the children's schooling, potentially even being a teacher during the day, as well as doing your full-time job. All of this really adds a lot of stress, a lot of tension, which then gets borne out in actually in our spine, both our lower back and our neck. Another thing that I've noticed from some of the patients that I've been seeing after coming back to practice is that a lot of people have been working from home. New York City is a very big and very robust office culture, and it completely shut down. Walking along 57th Street back in April, there was literally a ghost town. But now, people have to do their work. They go home, they're working at home, but they don't have the setups they may have had in their office. They don't have an ergonomic office chair. They don't have the desk set up at the right place. You're no longer working on a nice computer. Maybe you only have a small laptop. All of this stuff leads to bad posture, bad ergonomics. And all of this stuff has been borne out after 13 months, because this has gone on a lot longer than a lot of people thought, has really taken a toll on a lot of people who work in the office. And we've had people come in and say, oh, my neck hurts more. I've had more back pain than I ever did before. So a lot of things have happened during these last 13 months that you may not have been aware of, which has contributed over time to really setting yourself back from where you were probably in early 2020. And this has really taken a toll on the body. Just the stress alone, let alone all these other issues, can really be damaging and needs to be recognized, not only for the mental aspects of it, for your other physical aspects of it, but also for your spine health, because that's very important to your holistic being. Number one complaint we've gotten in our patient population that we see in clinic and on the phone that we screen is an increase in lower back pain. We also see an increase, actually a little bit out of proportion, in upper back pain and neck pain, sort of the shoulder areas. A lot of this is due to muscle spasms. Most patients, people are suffering from these intermittent severe pains that seem to come on and then release. That's typical of a muscle spasm, and these can be quite debilitating and sometimes can take several days to recover from. There's also been a lot of deconditioning. We've had a lot of people who were active and relatively doing well, who now, after several months of staying inside, maybe they didn't even go out for walks, they're deconditioned. And what that does is it weakens the abdominal muscles, it weakens your overall musculature, and then your body reacts with pain in certain aspects. And then again, we discussed poor posture. This could be usually in terms of a work from home situation, but it could also be other factors dealing from stress, depression, other aspects can lead to poor posture. And all this combined has led us to see a lot more lower back pain, a lot more neck and upper back pain in certain people. So that's all kind of negative, but now we're getting to the positive. How do we get ready for the great reopening? We got to get ready for return to commuting, maybe not 5 days a week, maybe not yet, maybe next year, but it's probably going to come soon. We got to return to the office. There's going to be more social events, hopefully, more interactions, and more ability to be active. So how do we get back to where we were or get better so that we can be ready for this interactions and return to normal life? And I think the one thing to remember is, it took a long time to get this way. It's been 13, 14 months. That's a long time. And it's going to take some time to unwind it. So really pace your return. If you've gotten vaccinated, if you feel safer to go out now, probably don't start with a 5, 6, 7 mile run or a long hike. Probably start slowly, get back to it if you haven't been active. If you have been active and are increasing your activity, again, I would take it step by step and really be mindful of what you've been through over the last year and how to unwind it and take it back to where it needs to be. So there's several ways you can plan your comeback. First, right now, there's a lot more flexibility in products, whereas before a lot of work from home products were sold out or hard to get. There are, they're back in the market, back in stock. Change your ergonomics at home. On the left side here, I put a very standard sort of ergonomics for the office, and I use this a lot in patients before the pandemic. But having a good posture with the monitor at the correct height, with your shoulders relaxed, back support, arm support, with your normal sort of angles for your feet and legs and hips, all this stuff can help. Or if you don't feel comfortable sitting, you can get a modified standing desk. You don't need to get a full standing desk. You can get a modified version that will go on your actual desk. So there's a lot of ways you can start adjusting your ergonomics, which will help you while you're still working at home, and then also give you an idea for when you go back, what you need to continue and improve on. You can start increasing your activity. One of the best things to do is to try low impact exercises, stretching, yoga. Doesn't have to be going for a run, doesn't have to be starting out using your jump rope or lifting heavy weights. You can do easy things like chair yoga. You can look online, make use of the free help that's out there with lots of free videos. You have to be careful you're not doing something that's not safe, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's free and safe. Outside exercise groups are forming again. If you have access to parks, you probably have access to like-minded people who may want to start a working group, a walking group, or a jogging group. There's a lot of different activities out there. Biking is a really good activity if you have access to a bike and a safe place to bike, because again, it's low impact and it lets you really get active without putting a lot of stress on your joints and not putting a lot of stress on your lower back. Running is actually very difficult on your lower back and your neck because every time you have a heel strike, all that force is transferred through your spine all the way up from the lower back up to the neck. And so unless you're ready for that, that's not a really good way to start. And you might get demoralized and not really get to where you need to be. And then one of the most important things we don't think about is working on our diet for our spine. We think of the diet for our cardiac issues, making sure our heart healthy, keeping our weight low for cholesterol, working on diabetes. But your overall health of your spine it really does depend on your diet. So I would recommend, focusing on eating healthier foods now, as opposed to the comfort foods of the past, the decreasing the fats, decreasing the heavy starches, eating more healthy legumes, fruits, and vegetables. And if you need to lose weight, start slow and be steady, because that's the most likely way you'll be successful at keeping it off. Crash diets, get slim, quick sort of shakes and plans generally tend to have a short-term at best effect. And again, all of this combined will really make a big difference if you can do just a little bit from each category. But, you also need to address your health. And that means also taking care of everything, not just your spine. You need to go and re-engage with your primary care doctor. I know a lot of our patients that come see us for emergency issues, they haven't seen their regular doctor. They may have been afraid to go in, but they come to see us because they're having a significant amount of pain. But it's really important to go see your primary care doctor again now. You can even be done virtually sometimes. You want to get basically all your screenings up to date. Make sure your blood pressure is checked, all the necessary lab work for your age. You want to address any of your chronic issues. So if you have diabetes that's out of control, if you have hypertension that's out of control, all of those have an effect on your pain levels and also really have an effect on the health of your bones and of your muscles, which make up the majority of where spine pain exists. And then, one of the things is if you've been, unfortunate and have had COVID-19 or have had it, any kind of concerns about having it, you may have some lingering symptoms. There are reports of people with joint pain. I've seen some people with unexplainable nerve pain. And a lot of this is thought to be a post-COVID syndrome. And I think a lot will come out about that in the future. This is not really a talk about that, and I wouldn't ever claim to be an expert on that. But if you're having those lingering symptoms, I would definitely recommend that you consider seeing somebody about that. Maybe your primary care doctor, but maybe get referred on to a neurologist if you're having nerve issues, or even a rheumatologist if you're having persistent joint issues. And then, again, if you're having chronic neck and back pain that's not getting better with your increase in activity, your overall improvement in health, if it's chronic or severe, it's not getting better, if you're having issues with arm or leg pain, then definitely seek help. And we're happy to be a source of help for you down at the Lower Manhattan Spine Center. And about ready to talk a little bit more about that should you need us. And again, when should you seek our help? Severe arm or leg pain, weakness in any of the arms or legs, difficulty walking, intractable back or neck pain. The first three are very serious. They usually result from a disc herniation or some other issue compressing the spinal cord or nerve. And that's definitely something that you want to get evaluated because that may not get better on its own. And if you have intractable back or neck pain, that may be something where you may not need an intervention, but you probably should be evaluated and put on a good plan for physical therapy or for any sort of a non-interventional medical way of helping your pain to get you back to where you want to be. So these are some of the reasons why we've seen people to seek help, and I would encourage people, don't wait if you have weakness, don't wait if you have severe arm or leg pain. Do come see somebody because we've seen people wait till it's too long, and sometimes there's issues that are not recoverable. So we really wanted to offer downtown one sort of number to address all of your spine concerns. And that would be addressing, everything from physical therapy. We have rehabilitation specialists. That would be addressing pain management. We have doctors that specialize in medicinal as well as interventional treatments. We have some doctors that we have capability for acupuncture, among other things. We have access to neurology down here, where we can get you an appointment for advanced diagnostics such as nerve conduction studies. We have some doctors that are in the neurology department that are interested in post-COVID syndrome, who could be helpful in discussing some of that with you in regards to your pain. And then, of course, we have the latest in all types of neurological spine surgery, be it the smallest MIS, endoscopic, deformity correction, and as well, for a lot of people who've been working at home, we have treatments for carpal tunnel syndrome, both non-operative and operative. So this is sort of our one number that if you have any issues at all, you call, we'll get you to the right place for the right treatment if you need extra help to get back to where you want to be. So I want to thank you, and we have a few minutes for questions, and I'd be happy to answer anything in the chat. So we have a couple of questions. One is how to position yourself with a laptop which has a keyboard and monitor in the same location. And that's a very good question. So you're sometimes limited because you can't move that monitor higher, the keyboard lower. So what in general you can do is get a middle ground position for that laptop. It's probably not going to be looking down. It's not going to be fully looking up, but somewhere in the middle. And then maybe if you can obtain it, get a hand support for your wrist to help you use that in a sort of a middle ground position. But it isn't easy, especially if you have a small laptop with a small screen. A bigger laptop with a bigger screen, a bigger keyboard makes it a little easier. But again, you have to find a middle ground and work with what you have. Another option is if you have access to a monitor, you can generally hook that laptop up and use it as a computer and then have a secondary monitor if you can have access to that. Another question that came up is, what about Zoom appointments? Those are actually done quite frequently here. We have a very robust telemedicine practice in all of the disciplines, pain management, physiatry, neurology, and neurosurgery. We all do video visits. In terms of out of state or in state, it depends on the insurance and it depends on the legal issues with your state. So I can't answer that specifically, but I will say that most physicians would be happy to screen you as best as possible to minimize your travel. So another question is, this one's a little bit specific. How much physical therapy is needed after a lumbar laminectomy? It really depends on how you do with your surgery and how it went. Most people, will take a few weeks, 6 weeks to 12 weeks, but it really depends on the person and where they started from and where they, are trying to get to. So another question we had, how long is it reasonable to give physical therapy before seeking imaging? If you have low back pain for 6 months and you've tried physical therapy for really greater than 6 weeks, maybe up to 8 weeks, that's a perfect indication for getting more advanced imaging like an MRI. You don't have to, and maybe there's something there that you don't actually have to act on, but that is what I would do if it was myself. I would definitely give, 2 months of physical therapy and real physical therapy, not like, oh, I went once or twice and didn't really work. But if you're committed to it going 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and after 2 months you haven't seen an improvement, it's probably a good idea to get a reassessment, and either with a rehab doctor or with a pain management doctor, or even with somebody like me who does surgery to see what are your options for trying to improve that pain. And then is stem cell therapy available for spinal issues? Again, I think that is one of those topics that is open And a lot of people have been trying it. There's nothing on label from the FDA, but there are definitely people out there that will do certain stem therapy treatments. Our rehabilitation therapy doctors, they do certain types of stem cell trials. And so if you have a concern about that, you can always reach out through our number and we can put you in touch with the specialists that are doing those trials. But I would not tell you that that is considered sort of a standard therapy at this point. Well, I want to thank everybody. It looks like the questions have slowed down, and I appreciate everybody coming, making time on a very nice evening. And I hope and I wish you guys the best of luck in getting back to work, activity, school. And I wish you a pain-free and definitely a spine pain-free return to normal. So thank you very much.